The 5 Project Management Process Groups by Team 8. Let me introduce our team. Eric Meehan, Lawrence McLean, Alfonso Lopez, Chris Meyer, and William Parks. This video will cover the 5 Project Management Process Groups. We will both define and discuss the key components of each process. What are the 5 Project Management Process Groups? They are the initiating phase, planning phase, executing phase, monitoring and controlling phase, and closing phase. If the initiating stage of a project is not properly performed, it is highly unlikely that the project will succeed. The tasks involved in initiating a project include analysis of business needs, financials, and the stakeholders. Once this analysis is complete, the project manager must complete a project charter which clearly indicates the scope, objectives, and participants in a project. Items that are specifically identified in the project charter are reasons for undertaking the project, objectives and constraints of the project, directions concerning the solution, identities of the main stakeholders, in-scope and out-of-scope items, high-level risk management plan, communication plan, target project benefits, and finally, high-level budget and spending authority. After the completion of the project charter and once the project has been better defined, the project manager should then focus their efforts on creating a proper statement of scope, which includes the details, the project deliverables, and describes the major objectives. The objectives should include measurable success criteria for the project. After the project has been initiated, the next step is to plan the project. The planning phase involves determining how the project's scope and requirements will be managed. The project team works with the appropriate stakeholders to create a scope management plan and requirements management plan. Based on the needs of the project, the planning phase can be informal and broad or formal and detailed. In fact, small projects may not need a written scope management plan, but large projects or highly technical projects often benefit from one. In general, the planning phase involves scope management planning and the collection of requirements to define scope and create a work breakdown structure. A key component for the planning phase is a work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure, or WBS, is a deliverable-oriented grouping of the work involved in a project that defines its total scope. Because most projects involve many people and many different deliverables, it is important to organize and divide work into logical parts based on how the work will be performed. Basically, a WBS is a hierarchical breakdown of the scope of work. At the top is the project objective, followed by the deliverables, then the activities and all the tasks within the project required to complete the scope of work. Once planning a project is complete, execution of the project can begin. Of all of the 5 process groups, the executing phase is where the rubber meets the road. This is where all of the hard work done during the initiating and planning phases comes to reality. For most people, this is their favorite phase because actual work gets done. During this phase, work has been defined and the plan is in place. The execution process involves coordinating both people and resources to meet the requirements. The project manager will ensure activities are performed to meet the project management plan. At this point in the project management process, if anything needs to be changed, it will be more expensive than if it was changed during the initiating or planning phases. Execution process includes direct and manage project execution, quality assurance of deliverables, acquire, develop, and manage the project team, distribute information, manage stakeholder expectations, conduct procurement, and finally, test the deliverables against the initial design. After the project has been executed, the next steps are to monitor and control. Monitoring and controlling a project is the process group in which the project manager tracks, evaluates, and revises project activities to ensure the project creates the deliverables in accordance with project objectives. Any deviations from the established project plan can significantly hinder project progress, so prompt corrective action is imperative. Due to the unpredictable nature of projects, active monitoring and controlling must be sustained throughout the duration of the project. The primary focus for the project manager is to analyze project performance to determine whether a change is needed in the plan for the remaining project activities to achieve the project goals. Project managers utilize a variety of tools, including progress reports, critical path analysis, earned value calculations, and PERT charts to maintain progress development. If any necessary adjustments are implemented, project managers must ensure that all fundamental project documents are updated to reflect those changes. Key tasks included in the monitoring and controlling phase include project plan management, performance reporting, scope verification and change control, schedule control, cost control, risk control, and finally, quality control. While each of the mentioned project management process groups are fundamental contributors in the overall success of any project, the closing process group would have to be considered the most vital of the discussed process groups, and justifiably so. This is mainly due to the fact that the closing process group brings the coordinated planning and activities of a project to full circle. That is, the utilization and hopefully mindful but effective expenditure of capital, material, and human resources are used in the direction of achieving a complete and ideally successful project end result, in which a project is accepted, of course. In this process group, resources and/or services used for project activities are closed out, deliverables are finalized, post-implementation analytical reviews are conducted, pertinent project documents are formulated, and acceptance forms and statements are prepared. With that stated, a project's success is ultimately contingent upon the formal acceptance of the project. This now concludes our overview of the 5 project management process groups. In this video, we have discussed the 5 project management process groups. We defined and discussed the key components of each process. These process groups make the backbone of successfully managing a project. A failure in any one of the 5 groups could spell disaster for a project.